Concerning style, structure, and routine, when setting up tracks and writing lyrics, Rakim would go into the studio without any knowledge of what he was about to write. Each session would start with working on the beats, and while he did most of the music, Eric B. would add all the vinyl scratching. The beats would come from records he'd rhymed over back in the park. And once they had a solid beat, he would sit down and write lyrics with a pencil. A pencil was his preferred tool due to the editing process, which was meticulous and focused. It usually took about an hour to get a verse down. Now, instead of focusing on personal stories, he endeavored to pen more universal stories, something everyone could relate to. Now, in this quest to carve out an audience for himself, there was also a very distinct need to grow as a lyricist and take his writing to the next level. Even in the early days of creating Paid in Full, Rakim would wonder if there was a different way to approach hip-hop than the way it had been done up to that point. He knew that for a radio track, the verses needed to be 16 bars. However, he was used to writing verses that went a lot longer than that. This led him to start diagramming the paper with dots to represent time. In this way, he could completely alter the structure of his rhymes while keeping control of how many bars he had left. Then something else happened. It suddenly felt boring to rhyme exclusively on the fourth beat, so he began to explore internal rhymes. Now, that is to say, rhymes within phrases. Thus, he began to explore new possibilities with his writing. With more lyrics and more rhymes, of course, came the obstacle of figuring out when and where to take a breath. For that, he began using another series of dots on the page that represented breath. He quickly understood that putting those breathing dots in certain places added to the rhythm of the rhyme. In essence, the pauses became a part of the delivery itself. Furthermore, it was quite important to him that the breaths and the pauses came and went effortlessly. He wasn't interested in sounding like a preacher running out of breath, so he meticulously calculated how to make it sound like he never took a breath at all. Now, this technique would soon be recognized in the hip-hop community as being a breathless flow. And of course, Rakim's name was attached to that style. Now, he preferred recording straight through the whole track in one take. He recorded all the verses on Paid in Full in either 2 or 3 passes, rhyming the whole verse straight through. To him, the beginning of a song was crucial. Thus, he decided to start by saying something memorable in that opening line, something that would stick in the mind. The ending, well, that depended on the mood created by the verses. Sometimes it would be a decline into a smooth ending if the theme of the track demanded a few calm bars as it came to a conclusion. Other times, it would build up steam as it went on and on and on into an explosion at the end. As for the choruses, in contrast, they were usually just a few words, something nice and catchy, something the crowd could join in on. And the verses, those were his, and his alone.